Jalapeno beef poppers have been made the same way for years. We're gonna show you how to elevate your popper game so you have the best party food on the block. So no surprise we're getting things started here with some jalapenos. But here's where our poppers differ. Instead of half jalapenos served as a boat with average ingredients, we're going to dice jalapenos up. It will all make sense here in a minute. Remove the inner pith and seeds, or keep some seeds for extra heat. Then cut long slices before turning and cutting the jalapenos into a fine dice. Be careful when cutting peppers with bare hands. If the peppers have any heat to them, you'll want to wash your hands right afterwards. Definitely don't touch near your eyes. Put the jalapeno in with the star of the show. I'm using certified Angus beef brand ground chuck for the best beefy flavor. We'll put in 12 ounces of shredded cheddar, a little salt, make sure it's coarse kosher or sea salt, and a little black pepper. I like to use fresh cracked pepper here. And finally, we're also putting in a surprise ingredient, mustard seeds. These will add some great texture and flavor pop to our poppers. Now get everything mixed evenly. Try to avoid overworking it and warming up the ground beef. The texture in the popper will be much better if you gently lift and mix the ingredients to get things incorporated nicely. And on to forming our poppers. Use a teaspoon to form little football shapes. So lift a generous portion with your teaspoon and use your other hand to form poppers to a uniform shape. I'll set them on a sheet tray and pop them in the refrigerator to firm them up while I get onto an easy dipping sauce. We're going to make a honey lime cream sauce, a perfect cool and refreshing dip to balance the heat of the poppers. Starting with some sour cream in a bowl, we're going to add lime in two forms. Roll the lime with a little force on a cutting board to get the most juice out of it. But first, we're going to zest the lime. I like to use a microplane to get the zest super fine. Do that right over the sour cream. Then cut the lime in half and juice right into the bowl. We'll add a couple tablespoons of honey for sweetness. Agave nectar would also work great here. And finally, we'll chop some fresh cilantro. Hey, if you're not a fan of cilantro, grab some chives. Either fresh herb is perfect in this simple dip. With everything in the bowl, we can stir things up and set it aside. Okay, back to our beef poppers. We're going to get them ready to fry. Here's a great insider tip for you. Start by dusting with a little flour. This will give a little foundation for our crust. Our egg wash will have a little something to hold on to is the idea. By sprinkling the flour with a fine screen, like the one you would with confectioner's sugar on pastries, you will get an ideal thin layer of flour rather than clumps. Roll them around to get all the poppers lightly coated. Okay, let's get the crust on them. It's the crunch you crave, so here's how to make the best crust. In one bowl, I've got a couple whisked eggs. In the second dish, equal amounts of both panko-style breadcrumbs and regular breadcrumbs. And now we get to breading the floured poppers. Working a couple at a time, go into the egg wash and into the breadcrumbs. Do your best at keeping one hand dry and only working in the breadcrumbs. Work your way through each popper, setting the complete ones back on the sheet tray. Now, if you're thinking about frying these in your air fryer, you can absolutely do that. All of the prep has been the same up to this point. If you do, click this video link right here. So we've got our poppers ready for the traditional method, which is in the deep fryer. So I've got my oil nice and hot. For me, that's 360 to 375 degrees. Be careful as you place them in the pan to avoid splashing hot oil. Working in batches of 6 or 8 really works well for me. Now I'm using vegetable oil, but you can also use canola, sunflower, or peanut oil. Just make sure it's an oil that can handle the high heat. So one that's got what we call a high smoke point. So on my first batch of 6, my oil was a little hot, and that's why this darker color. I had to leave it in longer than I would have liked. Temperature was perfect on these. It's a dark golden brown, that's what I'm looking for. Poppers. As soon as I bit into it, the crunch was there. I crave that. Flavor, cheesy, jalapeno, beef forward. I'm a fan. Ooh, I forgot to dip it in the cool. The cool lime, cilantro. I would dive into a basket of these. They're seriously that good. As soon as these get plated, hands are going in and they're gonna be gone fast. Perfect balance, love it. I have to say, the frying technique traditionally gives me that crisp that I'm looking for. This is a beef popper that you're gonna love making yourself. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time here in the test kitchen at Certified Angus Beef.